Good morning, everybody. Does everybody want to wait outside for a few more minutes? It's just, I know it's early. Usually I get up here, I try to introduce myself for a minute or two. Thank you, Tim Mathis, one of our better general managers. You know, I am Darren Shapiro. Actually, my title is Director of New Business Development for a company called Sinclair Broadcast Group. Well, enough about me for a minute. The reason why we wanted you to come here today, and if you notice, there aren't an unusual amount of leftover seats, because we like an intimate group. We like to pick and choose and actually almost handpick you in terms of your business, in terms of your marketing, and bring you to talk to you about what we think is probably the most innovative thing that we've seen in our industry in the last 30 years. And we call it 360-degree marketing. And today, I'll be talking about 360-degree marketing opportunities specifically for Springfield, Illinois. Now, I've been in the television business for 26 years. I've been with Sinclair Broadcast Group 21 of those years. Now, Sinclair Broadcast Group is a massive company. It's the company I work for. I love it. It's actually a company that's the largest independent owner of television stations in the United States. We own or operate 58 television stations in 35 different markets. We own ABC, NBC, Fox. We happen to be ABC affiliate here, but that's our brand, ABC. I'm not here to tell you about ABC. I'm not a typical TV guy. I don't want you to care about Dancing with the Stars today. What I want to do is talk about your business. Let's be honest here. This recession that we're in is the worst one I've seen in my 30 years of being in television. What about you? This is one of the worst ones. I lived through the 70s. Remember the gas lines? Is anybody old enough to remember the gas lines? Yeah. You know, my dad used to say, you better fill up that tank. I think it cost me $3 to fill up a tank of gas, you know, back in those days. But you know what? We're not just about TV anymore. In fact, we're not only affiliated with major networks, we're doing something that we haven't done in many years. We're looking back at where our origins were. Let me tell you something. I started with this company 21 years ago, back when there was no Fox or UPN or Yippee-I-O, or the cable wasn't even existing 21, 25 years ago. What we did was we went to local businesses, because you're the ones, you are absolutely the ones that should be on our television station. We love General Motors. They went bankrupt. We love Taco Bell. They'll spend money. But when we look at the growth of our business, the growth of our company, it comes directly from local businesses. So instead of me telling you about just TV, I want to offer compelling alternatives to what you're doing that allows you to use current technology. And I'm not going to talk over your head today. I don't want you to chase technology. I want you to chase the solution that allows you to actually hit a consumer 360 degrees. Okay? The last thing I'm going to ask you, and I'll ask a few questions today, but the last one on this slide is, does your current marketing truly mirror current consumer behavior? And I'm telling you, some of you didn't bring paper to write down. There are certain things I'm going to ask you to write down for yourselves, because I will promise you at least 2 really good marketing ideas. I will show you at least 3 or 4 really strong opportunities that you could take advantage of today. But I'm not here to sell timeshares, okay? So we're not locking the room. I'm not showing you a video of beautiful families walking on the beach. I'm actually talking to you about the most important person to you, which is the consumer. Now, I told you a little bit about myself. I'll tell you a little more. I grew up in New York. I was born in 1960. I'll be 50 years old today. I'm 50 years old this year, in October. Sorry, in October. So if you want to send a birthday card, the address will be on the screen at the end. I'm kidding. Is anybody up today? Come on. This side of the room is not listening to me. Not sending any birthday cards to me. See, I grew up in the 60s, and I want you to listen to this story, because we're talking about consumer behavior. Those of you who are in that age group that I'm in, I want to talk to you about what really has happened. There is no revolution in marketing. There is no revolution with consumers. In fact, this is a consumer-driven recession. People stop buying cars. People stop going out to dinner. People stop buying houses. People stop going out with their wives. Whatever it was they stopped doing. The economy is only going to get better when consumers start spending. Agreed? When the consumer starts spending, Wall Street goes up. But we've got to take a look at how consumers are acting. They're still spending money. They might not be going out to dinner a lot, but they're going out to dinner. If they've got problems in their house, they're getting them fixed. They're looking for estimates, but they're getting them fixed. So let's take a look at what I grew up with. In the 1960s, I only remember one thing in my house, a big black and white TV set. And I was my dad's remote. Does everybody remember that? What did everybody else grow up rich or something? Okay, one TV set. And that was my dad's TV set in the living room. But during the course of the day at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when he was at work and I was coming back from school, that was my TV set. And that was my TV set because I started watching cartoons. Now, I look back, and the only thing I do remember about watching cartoons was that I became a voracious consumer when the commercial came on. I didn't go to watch TV to buy anything. I watched TV to watch cartoons. But when Count Chocula cereal came on, I had to have it. Now, I have 3 sons, all under the age of 17. So you know what's going on in my house. They are voracious consumers. But here's what I did recognize. Not only was I a voracious consumer, but because it was the 1960s, probably about 1969 at this time, I didn't have money in my pocket. My parents had money. That's who had the money. And I didn't drive. So if I saw something that I wanted, I had to go to them. And if I went to them, then they had to get in a car and go to a store. And if they went to a store, they had to make the decision. Boy, there was a long, drawn-out process to buy stuff back then. Buying habits have changed. People are doing things different. But let me tell you what happened. So there was this marketer on television in those days, and he's still around. But he did a fantastic thing. Not only did he put his ad on TV in front of me, right? But he told me not only what his product was, he told me what it did, he demonstrated the product, and then he told me how much it cost, and he told me where to get it. I mean, he told me every piece of information. His name was Ron Popeil. Anybody remember this guy? The Popeil Pocket Fisherman. Okay? My parents were not buying me Ginsu knives in those days. Remember the Ginsu knives? All right. But I wanted the Popeil Pocket Fisherman. Ladies and gentlemen, I grew up in New York City. In the city! There are no ponds in the city. There are sewers in the city. But I wanted the Popeil Pocket Fisherman. I became a voracious consumer. And you know what he did? He not only told me it was the coolest thing, but it was small and you could carry it with you. He also showed me how it worked. He stood on TV and threw out the line out there. Remember, I'm in New York, ladies and gentlemen. 9 years old, but I wanted it. He also told me it was $9.99. You could get it at Woolworths. Remember Woolworths? It's called Target now. Anyway, so here's the deal. Or Walmart. I had to go to my parents and say, I want it. This is a consumer behavior, okay? Sometimes my wife actually comes to me and says she wants stuff. Sometimes she doesn't tell me she wants stuff. Sometimes they just see it on the credit card bill. Enough about me. Okay, so here's what ends up happening. I go with my parents to Woolworths, but when I get to the store, they don't know about the product, except for what I wanted. I want it. And what he did as a marketer was he was practicing 360 marketing in the 1960s. What he did was he purchased the end-of-aisle display. Does everybody know what that is? When you go into a store and it's at the end of aisle. What he wanted to make sure was if I saw it on TV, that the minute I got to a store, that I saw it on the end of the aisle. But he had to make another move. And that next move, this next move, for those of you currently, and I'll ask the question, how many of you currently, right now, are not on television with your advertising? Anybody? Yeah, hands up, all the way up. Okay, so currently you're not using television. And chances are the number one reason why, I mean, of course you want to be on TV. What's the number one reason if you're not currently on TV? Why aren't you on TV? Because of, you don't have to whisper. Because it's too expensive. Well, we're going to talk about that, and I'm going to knock down that myth in a moment. But he did something because he was on TV. He was Ron Popeil, right? He put a sign right next to his product on the end of aisle. He put a sign. Everybody has seen this sign before. It's called As Seen on TV, right? You've seen this. Do you know why this sign was more potent than anything he probably did? Because unfortunately, for any other medium, I've never seen a sign that said, as seen in the yellow pages. Nobody gets a high five for being in the yellow pages. I never see as seen in the newspaper. I don't see as seen on radio. Well, then again, we can't see as seen on radio. There is no pictures on radio. Is anyone listening? This is good stuff. This is great stuff. I also have not seen an as seen on the internet. So I want you to take a moment and think, those of you not on TV, in the 1960s, even to today, I see this sign all the time now. I still do. In fact, I see it on stuff I say, I didn't see it on TV. You ever see that one? You're like, that's not on TV. I've seen scheduled for TV. That's how proud they are that they're going to be on TV. Scheduled to be on TV. Why not? You know why? Here's the reason. One of the things you must take a look at, you're a local business, right? You're a local business. The people that watch my television station live in Springfield. That's the way it goes. So if you're on local broadcast television, you're able to reach people who live in Springfield. That's your core consumer. But no medium reaches more eyeballs than TV. Barack Obama, that guy, 6 or 7 years ago, A lot of people didn't know about him. In certain parts of the country, they knew about him. But because he was the #1 user of the mass media of television during his campaign, everyone knows who he is. He actually still, to this day, will not address the public through anything but TV when he has something very important to say, because it's a reach medium. If you have a new product or service, if you have a problem with your brand, if you have a competitive situation where you want to stand apart, no medium reaches more eyeballs faster than TV. The bigger thing, though, is about brands. No medium brands like TV. The power of brand allows me to say the word Geico in this room, and everyone knows what it is. Does everybody know what Geico is? And don't say gecko. It's an insurance company. Does anybody know what it stands for? It stands for something. It's not a made-up name. No, you know, that's not a bad guess, but it's actually government employees insurance company. Warren Buffett, he's got a couple of bucks. He took that company and turned it into a consumer company. It used to be a government employee company, which who is who? The armed forces. They used to support the armed forces. They've been around 70 years. Less than 20 years ago, he decided to take it public, to the public, and now if I stop 100 people downtown in Springfield and I say, name me 3 insurance companies, one of them is going to be Geico, whether or not they use it or not. And let me tell you the image of branding. It's in your head. No one needs insurance every day. In fact, I don't think all of us change our insurance every month. Well, how often do people change their insurance? Not often. But you're looking at a product called Geico who has taken their brand up the upper echelon. Now, I'm not going to turn you into Geico across the United States, but you could have that same power. Power of brand. Told you I'm going to be 50 years old in a few months. At 43 years old, went through a little midlife crisis. Come on, admit it, right? Guess what? Went and bought a motorcycle. What kind of motorcycle did I buy? A Harley Davidson. You know what? Not only did I buy it, it's a black Fat Boy, got Vance and Hines pipes. I did a stage 2 kit. I have a fake tattoo on the weekend. I wear a ponytail as well. My mother's not crazy about it, but I really do. I have a black Fat Boy. What in the Lord's name, think about this. No one said Kawasaki. No one said Suzuki. No one said Honda. Why do you know these Japanese words? They're all brands. I threw an image in your head, a $25,000 bike, a 43-year-old man. Of course he's buying a Harley. But wait for a second. It is such an iconic brand. It is so powerful that people put that tattoo on their body. Anybody put the tattoo of your business on their body besides you? It's an iconic brand. It didn't get there overnight. People don't wake up and become Harley riders. But they are in business for only one thing, not to just sell motorcycles. They want to sell you a $28 t-shirt, cost them 50 cents to make. They want to sell you product. They want to sell people that know you product. They want to sell you that the only place you could change a battery for $400 is at the Harley dealership. The power of a brand allowed Martha Stewart to go to jail, come out, and become more powerful than ever. That crazy Donald Trump has a brand that allows him to put his name on water. Okay? I'm not creating you, not making you into Geico or Martha Stewart or Harley. I'm telling you that the branding of your business starts and ends with television. There's no such thing as being in business for 40 years, and that's your brand. Also, brands, and I'm going to give you a secret. If you do have a strong brand, you can actually charge more money. Anybody you go in the mall, they have those BOGO signs, buy one, get one, right? Have you seen the BOGO sign at the Porsche dealership? Let me know. I'll go in halvesies with you, right? Do we really think that the difference between a Rolex and a Timex is that they tell time better? I mean, you better be having a better time if you're wearing a Rolex. I understand that. But remember, the iconic brand is something you can actually harness by using the power of television. In fact, the last one is no medium adds more credibility. Do you know that instantaneously you put your business on TV, you destroy your competition? And I mean it. Destroy them. The sham wow. Hello. Does everybody know what the sham wow is? Do you know what the Snuggie is? I was wearing one this morning. You know, listen. These products didn't exist. You put it on TV, you know about it. In fact, there's such a pervasiveness about television in people's minds that television adds that credibility. People don't watch television for any other reason but to watch programs. But they actually, you get caught off guard, and it teaches people what's cool. Don't play Russian roulette with your business based on marketing if you don't have a strong brand. Last but not least, no medium does all three as well. In the current fragmented media universe, oh my, you have so many choices, and that's actually why I'm glad you're here. Based on all the choices you have, the first place you start with branding, which is a very critical part of 360-degree marketing, starts and ends with TV. There is no such thing as branding on any other business. All right. We're going to talk about reaching consumers who are ready to buy now. Now, I'm not sure about all your businesses. Who has a service business here? Hands up. Service? Anybody have a retail business? Retail, right. What you want, wouldn't it be great if I could actually tell you, we can reach the consumer when he's ready to buy right now. Like right now. You know, everybody's always like, I'm not sure if the guy who wants to buy my product is watching your station at the exact time my commercial runs. Stop it, okay? Because that's never going to happen. Wasn't that supposed to happen with email? It didn't. I get nothing but spam in my inbox. So I'm taking a look at ready to buy now. Build from the core local. Fix your current marketing problem. Number one marketing problem you have, obviously I love to say the number one marketing problem you have if you're not on my television station is you're not on my television station. But that sounds like a TV guy. Your number one marketing problem is you must take a look at what your consumers' habits are and why they buy. Why do they buy? How do they buy? Remember my story from the 60s, right? I wanted that product. I didn't need that product. People buy because of need. Sometimes it's an immediate need. My roof is leaking, right? Is anybody a roofer here? Oh, good. Does anybody else have roofs on their house? Yeah, I thought you did. That's why you're in a good business. That's why you guys are in a good business. But let's be honest, you don't know when that person's going to get that leak. And certainly, if they get a leak and you're not in their mind already, you might lose their business. In fact, it's a better chance you're going to lose their business than anything else. So what you want to do is you want to create a brand. You want to be in front of that consumer when they need you. You also have to be very relevant. There's nothing worse than marketing that's not relevant. And you know what? Relevant in a bad economy is different than relevant in a good economy. People buy because of immediate need. People buy because of a long-term need. And then people buy because of a perceived need. You know what a perceived need is? I didn't realize I needed a device that held 800 songs on my hip called an iPod. That cost me $500. I didn't realize I needed that. Some of you might have a business that isn't based on need. It's based on perceived need. Is anybody in that kind of business? Are you trying to tell people what kind of business are you? Musical instruments, right? There are people, but sometimes the expense might stop them, so they need to know the quality. They need to know what it is. Who else will raise their hand, sir? A jeweler, perfect example. But guess what? We don't know when everybody's birthday is. We don't know. We know there's a graduation time, and we know there's a Mother's Day, but we also want to be there when they have a defined brand in their head. You want to be top of mind awareness. Think about it this. If you're ready, if you can actually reach what I call a ready-to-buy audience, then your marketing is relevant, okay? Do you know that people think a commercial is a commercial only when it is not relevant? They get annoyed. Who didn't get annoyed by the Mentos commercial? The Mentos, the Fresh Maker, the Mentos. I'm not in the mood for Mentos. Isn't it funny when you actually are thinking about redoing your kitchen, all you see are ads for redoing kitchens? Isn't it bizarre when you're ready to change the car or thinking about another car, you start seeing that car on the road. All of a sudden, everybody has that car. What, did everybody start driving Hondas because I wanted a Honda? No, it's because that's called a ready-to-buy audience who is getting marketed in a relevant way. Okay, this is the one line I want you to write again if you didn't write it before. Your marketing must be able to be there when they decide. Now, I can't give you a wave a magic wand, because if I could actually do that for every one of you, I'd actually move to Springfield and put you out of business, and you out of business, if I knew how to do that. But I do have solutions that put you in front of more consumers more of the time, not just TV. You need to offer multiple ways to connect to effectively mirror their behavior. Now, here's the most important people to us, our viewers and you, the business owner. So I actually think you want to acquire new customers. Is anybody right now, seriously, is that what your goal is? I'm being serious. Raise hands. Acquire new customers. Well, that's only going to come from branding. You got to get out there, right? So massive marketing. But there are other reasons why you're here today, because I think you really want your current customers to spend more as well. Now, I'm not talking about specifically when they come into your store or they come into, or they give you a call because they want to ask you something about the roof. I'm saying, how do you motivate a customer to actually spend more, a current customer to spend more? And in a bad economy, I hear a lot of people tell me this one. I'm not worried about new customers. I'm worried about getting my old customers back. Is anybody in that position? Did you lose some customers? Restaurants tell me this all the time. Hair salons tell me this. Hair salons, unfortunately, any hair salons in here? Yes. Oh, you are. You know what? Isn't it funny that a lot of people have stopped going to hair salons and do it themselves and messing it up. So what's cool is what I would do for her, for your business, is my ad would be, we fix home jobs. Right? In other words, the guy who tries to fix his own roof, we fix bad hair dyes that you did yourself. Is anybody a plumber here? Anybody a plumber? Does anybody have plumbing in their house in Springfield? Yeah, kidding. Okay. Yeah, you're in that same position. The guy who goes, I could fix that. You're making more money off that guy. Before your husband gets under the sink with that wrench that he got from grandpa, call us, okay? So there's a reason that you could get, okay, now, the way you do all these things, you have to control the message delivered. You need to lower your cost to reach and acquire because that's, what that does? It improves your ROI. You also have to control what I call frequency of message. Let's look at Geico. Do you know how through this economy, Geico did not stop advertising? In fact, you know that if they never run one more commercial for the next 10 years, you'll know what Geico is. Am I right or wrong? You don't need to see it, but they constantly run commercials. In fact, in the last week, I guarantee you've heard, seen, or been touched by a Geico commercial. You know what they're doing? They're not ensuring that you call them today. They don't know when you're mad at Allstate. They don't know when you're going to be frustrated with Progressive or State Farm. They're banking on them being in their head. Let's talk about the businesses that need the phone to ring. How many businesses here need their phone to ring to touch their customer? Phone to ring, right. You know what? In this day and age, unless it's a pure emergency, you might be getting calls for estimates. Now, the funny thing about estimates, when you're talking about branding, or at least in your head of branding, let's look at something. I like to use, anybody an exterminator in here? No? Okay. But if I said, hey, you know what? I just moved to Springfield. I've got a termite problem. Who's the first guy that you think I'm going to call? Terminex. Second guy's Orkin. Who's the third guy I call in Springfield? I'm listening. You live in Springfield. Who's the third guy? Do you think there's not at least 3 exterminators in this market? Who's the fourth guy? Do you know why I asked that? Who's the fifth guy? In a good economy, consumers don't go more than 3 deep. In a bad economy, they're looking for a deal. So they might go 4 deep. If you're not 3 deep or 4 deep or 5 deep, you're losing that customer to your competitor. I'll open up a Yellow Pages right now and show you there's probably 25 exterminators in this area. Yet you can't even tell me the name of one. Past Terminex or Orkin. I had done a presentation a few months ago in a market where a woman raised her hand and said, I'm an exterminator. And I said, sure, what's your name? And she said, Terminator. So I said, oh, Terminator. I said, what do you do? She goes, dude, we're like Terminex. Isn't it funny? I asked her what she did, and instead of saying she's an exterminator, she told me what the other brand did. That's like saying, we're almost like Coca-Cola, just not as good, Okay, so the other thing is you want to be there when they decide, how am I going to do this for you? I want to show you how you can mirror consumers' behavior in this economy. Here it comes. Where do local businesses advertise? Anybody advertise by word of mouth? Raise your hands, please. Of course you do. It's called word of mouth. Word of mouth is an unusual way to advertise. I'll get to it in a minute. It's not really a good one, but I'll tell you why. About newspapers, in the last 6 months, anybody actually used the newspaper to advertise? You have. About 5 years ago, when I asked anybody to use the newspaper, you know how many hands went up in the room? Everybody. Now, the reason why not everybody raised their hands is not, I hate to say that marketing doesn't work. No marketing works, right? It just all depends if you're actually relevant and touching a consumer when they're ready to decide. That's what makes it work. Unfortunately, to make it work, you have to reach an unusual amount of people who are ready to do business with you. The newspaper is losing their customer. People have migrated away from the newspaper. Agreed? Agreed. Okay, what about Yellow Pages? Anybody currently still in the Yellow Pages? Actually, it's not a bad place to be. It is a directory of phone numbers, yet there is a migration away from it. And the migration started almost 7, maybe 10 years ago. How about direct mail? Anybody use direct mail? Anybody have used direct mail? Have. Yeah, there you go. Okay, thank you. And last but not least, I put 2 stars on it. Who in here has an internet site? Hands up, please. Like 5 years ago, hardly anybody raised their hand. For some reason, you're there. Now, I know why you're there. You're there because you're hoping, as the saying goes, you're hoping if the consumer's there and I'm not there, I'm going to lose the business. So I better be there. There's a problem with that, though. So let's look at word of mouth. You know what word of mouth actually is called today? It's called Facebook. That's what it is. Social networking. Boy, when I was a kid, it was called the heard it through the grapevine, right? Do you remember that? You know, it was a whole cool song. Is everybody old enough to remember that? You know? Believe half of none of what you see and none of what you heard. I don't know. I think Gladys Knight and the Pips sang it, as well as the Temptations. Thank you. Okay, word of mouth is Facebook. Should you be there? Yes, you should. Is that going to change the face of your business? Of course, it's not. Word of mouth has the same problem it always has. You have no control over what they're talking about. You have no control who they're saying it to, and you have no control what they're saying. That's good word of mouth's great. Bad word of mouth puts you out of business. Actually, incorrect information word of mouth is horrible for your business. So, yeah, it's good to be on a Facebook, but it isn't the revolution that you think it will be. Yeah, I get it. It's free. So is word of mouth. Look, free is free is free. Hey, is there any dollar stores in Springfield? You ever go in there to buy something for your kids and like before you get to the car it breaks? Do you know why? Because it's $1. If you're spending nothing, what are you expecting? Getting something for nothing? Newspapers, unfortunately, people have migrated away from them. They made most of their money from classifieds, most of their money from inserts, most of their money from automotive, most of their money from stores like Circuit City, out of business, and things like that. But unfortunately, what happened is if the consumer's migrating away from the newspaper, then functionally, they have to either decrease their cost, meaning charging you less, which they won't do, or they're going to have to decrease the size of their paper. When I was growing up, there were evening newspapers and weekend newspapers and fat newspapers. And now I have children in my house. I don't think we've actually have, except for the USA Today I pick up at the hotel when I'm staying on the road. There are no newspapers in my house. And I'm not saying it's because of online. No, no, no. It's because of consumers' habits. Consumers' habits. They no longer use the newspaper. It is not a revolution. It's an evolution. I no longer have a phone in my house that has one of those. You remember all of you that had it? It used to be kind of orangey right outside the kitchen with a really long cord, and if I pulled the cord to the next room to talk, my dad would reel me in and say, "What are you doing?" You know? And actually, I was around when they had party lines. Who remembers party lines? Remember? Right. You remember that? You're on the phone. That's like being interrupted by somebody like, who is that? Who is that? It's a party line. And there was no party going on. There's a party over here. Is there a party over there? Oh, okay. Here we go. Newspapers. Then I got Yellow Pages. And the reason why I bring up Yellow Pages is because when I was a kid, the coolest ad on TV I thought was there was a hand and it said, "Let your fingers do the walking." It was a cool ad. You know why? Because it kind of told you, instead of getting out of your house and shopping, you were able to, in the 60s, in the 70s, even in the 80s, you were able to, before you left your house, you were able to let your fingers do the walking in the Yellow Pages. It has become nothing but a useless heap of paper that doesn't get open unless there's an emergency, maybe, or doesn't get open unless somebody really needs a phone number, maybe. But I notice, if you don't notice, if you go around neighborhoods, that more and more, when they drop Yellow Pages, they don't get picked up anymore. People aren't using those Yellow Pages. It's not the best place to be right now. People have migrated away. Direct mail is a targeted medium. It targets nothing but a mailbox. It targets a mailbox in a specific zip code. I think it's very important to, it's because for your business, unfortunately, I don't think anybody's traveling 80 miles to come to your place, or 50 miles, or 40 miles. You might get most of your business within a 10 to 15 mile radius of where your business is. Does anybody have that right now? You don't get more, you get the bulk of your business within 10 to 15 miles of where your business is. Chances are good you're not going to drive to Champaign to fix a roof unless it's a really big job. I don't know anybody's calling you from Champaign. I'm actually going to Champaign later today. That's why I'm mentioning it. So I will call you. Thank you. The last but not least is I want to look at something called this thing called the internet. You know, all these other things, years ago, if I really looked at how consumers acted, in the 1980s, if you were a local business, you had to be in the newspaper. You had to be in the newspaper. And you know what? I'm sorry, in the Yellow Pages. And you had to be in direct mail because that was almost like 360 marketing. You hit them when they looked at the news, you hit them when they got to the mailbox, and you hit them if they opened up the book. Smart, smart, smart. In the go-go 80s, not in the so-so 90s or the 2000s. Now, remember, if you really take a look at what happened back then, though, all of your competitors were in the newspaper. And all of your competitors were in the Yellow Pages, might even be there now. And all of your competitors, pretty much, would be in direct mail for any sense. But here's what's funny. The reason why you shouldn't have been in the newspapers, Yellow Pages, direct mail, and done TV back then was because you need to stand out. Sometimes you're not trying to compete with anyone but one person. Coke competes with Pepsi. Budweiser competes with Miller. To this day, they're still battling out. Well, we don't know what Budweiser is? They're constantly telling me about Budweiser. I don't know it's a beer. I don't know Coca-Cola is dirty sugar water. I don't know this. What am I, part of the Pepsi generation? Does Coke add life? Really? But here's what's bizarre. The newspapers, Yellow Pages, and direct mail completely oversaturated with your businesses. So you got to stand out. But let's take a look at this last one. This is the joke of the century. What does a W stand for? World Wide Web. What's more crowded than the world? You're in the world. You're out there. There is no barrier of entry to putting a website up there. I could put a website up, say I'm a roofer, tomorrow, today. So you're not really standing apart. There's a way to stand apart with the internet. And we're going to talk about it right now. If you're not doing anything but those things, and some of you are doing some TV or radio, something, that's smart. It's part of the 360. But if you're relying on the newspaper or Yellow Pages or even direct mail in its current form, you're not really effectively mirroring consumer behavior. And I want you to keep thinking about this. Consumers in this economy are looking for deals. Do you agree or not? And I'm not saying you got to give them free, but they're looking for something. They're looking for something. I mean, you could go to what's a really great steak restaurant? Top of the line steak restaurant here. Say, Roadhouse? Is that a good steakhouse? I mean, I don't know. I don't live in Springfield. No one eats steak in Springfield. Alexander's, there you go. Well, you know what? If I go to Alexander's, I want to know when they're having that 2-for-1 drink special. I want to know if they're giving me a free appetizer. I want to know if it's a la carte or I want a deal. I'm going to spend my money. I'm going to take my wife there. But I want to spend my money. I want a deal. But I don't want a deal from just anyone. I want a deal from Alexander's. I want a deal from a familiar place. I want a deal from your place because I like your place or I heard about your place. But I also react favorably to brands. That's what TV does. But this is what's going on in this economy. When they're ready to buy, they're ready to buy. Okay? What? January, nobody bought cars. February, nobody bought cars. Everybody bought cars in March. Wow. Remember, did you watch the news? Nobody's buying cars in April. And in June, they sold more cars. What's going on there? You know what's going on? Every time they do 0% financing, every time they lower the interest rates, every time something happens, that consumer reacts. What, they had no money? Sure they do. Yes, they do. In fact, they have actually shown that people are still spending money. Let's look at the biggest time of year, Christmas, on gifts. 5 years ago, people spent an average of $528 per person in America on Christmas. Now, spending is way down, but now they're spending $378. They're still spending. Don't you want to capture your unfair share? For the businesses that are emergency-based or service-based, don't you want to be the person they call? Do you have a store someone can walk into? You certainly don't. Does anybody else have a business they don't have a storefront? No storefront. Everybody else has a storefront? Or is everybody just like being tired and not talking to me? Everybody has a storefront? That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Okay, they're looking close. Now, another one. They're not just looking close to home. We spend more of our time at work than anywhere else. Don't we? Don't we? Seriously. I mean, I don't know what about you, but I'm at work a lot more than I'm at home. I have quality time at home, but I'm at work a lot. In fact, in a good economy, consumers spend 80 cents of every dollar within a 15-mile radius of where they live and where they work. And most businesses don't market to people where they work. Nobody sends direct mail to where they work. No one, I'm telling you this. You need to grab that customer. There are people who decide to get their hair cut during the day near where they work, go to the gym near where they work, go get their oil changed near where they work. When are they working? It sounds like they're doing a lot of stuff. They're not working now. They're getting their hair cut. They go to eat near where they work. Don't miss the opportunity to hit people in both places. Is your marketing doing that? And is your marketing reaching the consumer who's migrating online, and now the Lollapalooza is on the phone? Now, those of you who are looking at this, that have internet sites, you're smart because consumers migrate online. But their habits have changed about going online. 15 years ago, they did go online to surf. Remember the surfing the World Wide Web? They don't do that anymore. Google made billions of dollars because people searched on the World Wide Web, but now they're not even going there anymore that much. In fact, if anybody has a new smartphone, I do. I have an Android. But the Android is a Google. It's a Google phone. Do you realize how silly this is, too? About 10 years ago, if I started saying Google, you'd lock me up. If I say, hey, you want to Google me? You want to Yahoo my Google? You want to Google my Yahoo? Yeah, 5, 6 years ago, one of these guys would have punched me in the head. Today, you're like, yeah, I'm doing that right after. I'm Googling that dude. Yeah, I'm doing that. Right. Google is in the phone business, but they're not in the phone business. They're in the business of reaching consumers who are now duplicating what they've done online. By the way, if you're online, that's because you looked at what a consumer was doing. But unfortunately, they're starting to migrate towards the phone. Who in here has a smartphone? Does anybody have one? Okay. 1 in 3 adults in America have them today. In less than 7 months, they're projecting there'll be no such thing as the other phones, unless somebody's holding on to them. But they're not going to sell them anymore, the other phones. It's almost like, anybody still have an 8-track? Yeah, I didn't think so. Anybody still have a cassette tape in their car? No, you don't. No, you don't. Anybody have a frickin' VCR? You know why I said that? You know, about 10 years ago, people used to ask me, Darren? I said, yes. I'm going to play both parts, by the way. Darren, yes. Isn't it true that people are starting to use their VCR and run through commercials? I am going to say something funny because I'm in a time machine and I just realized 10 years from now, there will be no VCRs. You can't find a VCR anymore. Those of you who have a VCR, it's broken and it's just sitting there clicking on 12. Okay? There are no VCRs anymore. It's out of business. But it isn't because technology changed. It's more, what did the consumer embrace? Consumer didn't embrace the 8-track tape, by the way. Those of you who remember that. They embraced the cassette. They did not embrace Sony Betamax. They embraced VHS. So what we're looking at is, are we looking at consumers that migrate online? Yes. And here's the scary part. Once they migrate away from the newspaper, once they stop using the Yellow Pages, they're never going back. It's one of those things. Like, we're never going back to the VCR. Are we? Are we? No. In fact, if you go on a diet and you migrate away from chocolate cake, you're going back to the chocolate cake. But you're not going back. They're not going back. So if I'm talking to you 10 years ago, I'm talking about the internet. But I'm not 10 years ago. I'm today. They're migrating online, but they're migrating towards the phone. We need to help your business connect not only to a consumer, but increase that interaction that leads to a transaction, because that's all you care about, because that's where your ROI is. So this is not about cheap marketing. This is not about functionally better marketing. This is marketing that connects an interaction to a transaction. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the significance of capturing what's called the mobile consumer. And there's different levels of mobile consumer. But when you put your business on TV, you're going to start what I call the discovery process. In fact, there's a really strange thing that happened in the last few years. Again, I'm going to take you back a while. In the 70s and 80s, there was a guy who came on TV, a heavyset guy, and he used to say, time to make the donuts. Like, that was the ad, time to make the donuts. Like, some of us probably even say that still, and our wives want to kick us out of bed. You're like, honey, time to make the donuts. You know, you got to do that. Well, you don't do that? Time to make the donuts. That means you're going to work. Time to make the donuts. Right, okay. So, what was that guy selling? I know he was selling donuts, but what was the product? Dunkin' Donuts. What does Dunkin' Donuts sell now? They sell coffee. America runs on Dunkin'. They're not saying they run on jelly donuts. They're saying it's coffee. They've changed their position. I don't even think Kentucky Fried Chicken makes fried chicken anymore. They're just called KFC, and they sell broiled chicken, right? McDonald's sells coffee. Subway sells breakfast. But how do you know about this? They're branded. They're starting the discovery process by TV. That's where it comes. No one's like standing by the water cooler going, hey, did you hear about McDonald's? They do coffee now. Yes, it's not one of those things. That's word of mouth. What we want is to push the message. Maybe something's changed in your business. Maybe you offer different services that you didn't do 6 months ago. Maybe you guys actually do more than just roofs. I don't know. You've got to get out there, brand, captivate, and motivate the consumer. But how can you engage and interact? Television is not the place. Television lets you create a discovery, right? Some of you, anybody in here use Geico? Hands up. Isn't it funny? Even though they're the number 2 insurance company in the country, they've changed. Do you know they also do motorcycle insurance? Do you know they do home insurance and boat insurance? They never did that before. They changed. They changed the message. But they've got interaction, and the way their interaction has become, in fact, if you saw the caveman commercial a few years ago, yeah, blah, 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 it was funny. They're trying to tell you that going online for Geico, so easy, a caveman can do it. That was what their marketing campaign was. Obviously, everybody remembers the caveman, but it was all about changing the way people interacted with their brand. Can they go online? Can they get a quote? Progressive tried to beat them to the punch by saying, hey, we'll give you quotes from everybody. Think about what you're doing right now that is captivating and motivating that consumer to go to your website or even to come to your shop. Mobile marketing in the form of SMS or text, those of you who know about it, we have the ability to help you with that. We're a massive company. Sinclair is a $600 million company. We are TV, but we also know, and we're smart, we have partnered with companies that can provide you with either texting campaign, through mobile marketing, through loyalty clubs, and we actually can make it easy for you to jump on that bandwagon if you choose to. You could talk to your salesperson about that. But there is also something called WAP-enabled mobile marketing. Now, can anybody in here, anybody ever hear of that term WAP? A WAP is not an app, and an app is not a WAP. And it sounds like a Dr. Seuss thing. How many WAPs can an app fit into? Right. Does anybody know what a WAP is? Come on, hands up. Not something that I do if I hit you in the head. I whap you. I whap you. It's not something that Jay-Z, the WAPper. He's not a WAPper. Right. A WAP stands for Wireless Application Protocol. There, you learned something. All it really means is that, you ever go on your phone, if you have a smartphone, onto a website that's not WAP-enabled? That means that you're scrolling all over and it doesn't look right on the phone. And some of you actually have apps that you've downloaded, and what that really is a website that's formatted for the screen. Anybody do banking online? Hands up. Anybody do banking on their phone? Hands up. Right. Anybody do Facebook online? Hands up. Anybody? I'll friend you later. Isn't it funny? Facebook used to be something called MySpace, and now Facebook's turning into something called Twitter. Why? Because of the consumers. You see, the viral nature of what you're going to be involved with has to be duplicated by what the consumer is doing. If the consumer is going online and you have a website, good for you. But if the consumer now is moving towards a phone and your website's not WAP enabled, and it's really not way expensive to do it, but functionally, don't keep building that website online. Bridge the gap, because some of you actually have Facebook on your phone, and some of you have your banking on the phone in that format. And remember, how many apps or WAPs that you put on your phone, those applications, are going to be used. Not all of them. Apple has 200,000 apps in the App Store. I think I have 15 on my phone, and I think I use 9 all the time. So if we can capture a consumer for your business with something like this, that might be a benefit too. We could build you that WAP too. We have that capability. And the new cool thing is something called geo-targeted mobile marketing. Hitting the consumer close to their phone. You see, close to their computer, they're not always with their computer, but they're always with their phone. So hitting your business, being able to be at arm's length at any given time of the day is the new thing. It's almost like the Jetsons. Almost. And I'm being serious about that. It almost is. You need to be a part of it. But we actually have created our own WAP-enabled, geo-targeted coupon site. And it isn't called the ABC coupon site, and it isn't called the ABC website, and it is not branded anyway except for the consumer. It is a white labeled, is what we call it. It is called Moby Deals. And what Moby Deals is a WAP-enabled coupon site. Now, if you don't want to spend money to make your website WAP-enabled, you could ride on the tails of our WAP-enabled site. In fact, I want you to be a part of that evolution. Let me tell you a little bit about Moby Deals. Remember, we're a big company. We own television stations across the United States. We can pretty much promote and do anything we want. I mean, that's what we do. But we have actually decided to invest in this technology because we believe that's where the consumers are going. And we want to make sure that if you do business with us at any given stage, we're not just TV guys. We're marketing people. We're solution-based business. If some of you are trying to get customers to call you on the phone, we've got a solution, and I'm bringing it up. If you want to get to stand out against your competition, we could do that with television. This is a coupon WAP site. It's fully developed for our clients. It operates within the restrictions of your actual smartphone. It allows you to be geo-targeted by GPS or zip code. In fact, I travel, so when I go to Vegas, we have television stations in Vegas, it knows that I'm in Vegas. So when I'm looking for a coffee shop near my phone, and not just Starbucks, I want a good deal, I want to buck off, I know I could check Moby deals. If I go to Detroit or Denver, if I go to Dayton, Ohio, this is our dream. Everywhere across the United States, it will be branded as Moby deals. Yes, it is the local Moby deals here because it's geo-targeted to the GPS or the zip code on the phone. So your customer only will see your ad or the ads that are on there. Businesses will be listed in order proximity to my phone. You know, how far, like if I don't need to ask you where that steak restaurant is, I could check and see if it's on Moby Deals because that's what I would be doing first if I'm a Moby Deals consumer. It's an opt-in mobile website. If anybody doesn't know what that is, opt-in is that is the key thing. That's the coolest thing right now. Okay? No one opts in for a commercial. No one opts in for direct mail. You don't. When you bookmark a site, have you bookmarked sites? You know, on the web? Right. You don't search as much as you bookmark. So, because you want to just go back right there. You don't want to type it. Boom. So what we're doing is took the technology, and we said the only consumer that's going to use Moby Deals is the opt-in consumer. So let's go through a lesson. When somebody goes to Facebook, why do they go to Facebook? To talk to their friends. They're not going there to buy anything, are they? If somebody goes to their bank online, they're going there to do banking. They're not going there to buy anything, really, off the site. True? You right? If somebody signs up for Moby Deals, what are they looking for? Okay. And if somebody looks for deals, at that moment of looking, they're looking because they're ready to buy. I'm ready to go to a different salon. I'm ready to check something out. You're not taking the chance that somebody's just passing by. Remember, the commercial creates identity discovery, but we need interaction. Do you want to be in front of a lot of people that are watching television at 2 o'clock in the morning, or do you want to be in front of a lot of people at 2 o'clock in the morning who are looking for a snack and they want to find a place near where they live because they could drive there through a drive-thru and get a better deal, if that's your business? Okay, sign up is as easy as 1, 2, 3. It's available online and on the phone. So I want to tell you something. What we've created is a product that if you're part of it, it is accessible online and on the phone. Because we know not everyone has a smartphone. They will. But at the moment, everyone's online. That's why you're there. But we want you to be also on the phone. So let's take a look at it. It's actually very easy. You know, this is the screen that you would see. We ask the consumer to go on, give us their name, their mobile number, their zip code. It actually asks them to give us their mobile number. That's their ID. Everybody has their own mobile number. In fact, you could carry your mobile number with you to the next carrier if you want to, right? Remember years ago they didn't do that? That's because they ran out of phone numbers anyway, right? It's very rare that somebody gives up their mobile number. So everyone has a mobile phone. Not everybody has a smartphone. But they could sign up for this, and then based on the zip code and based on the distance from their phone, 10 miles, 20 miles, 15 miles, they can access deals. The way it's set up, and everybody knows what this is, this happens to be a smartphone. You see that icon? That's the Moby Deals icon. That is pure real estate. You want to be on that real estate, because once somebody locks it on, it's very rare they drop it off, unless it's a game they don't play anymore. But deals are deals are deals. After you click on that, the interface is very clean. I'm going to show it to you in a little bit bigger. It has every category from automobile, dine-in restaurants, entertainment, home and home services, personal services, spa, gym. Whatever your category is, we can access it. And then you can actually click on, remember, we're targeting a consumer who's looking for a deal, who's looking for home and home services, allows you to the only thing on their phone is home and home services. You following that? It's real easy. I mean, everybody's seen this interface. I've made it a little bigger. First of all, it's as clean. I think it's the best looking coupon site out there. And look, we're a big company. We've been looking at this for months, not years, because the technology just turned. But we know that consumers like things that are easy, quick, fast, and gives them an opportunity to be in control. If you click on home and home services, I know I've got roofers here. I don't have a roofer on here. This is a live site in one of our markets. If I click on comfort, heating, and air, all of a sudden comfort, heating, and air ends up being the only thing on this person's phone. Now, those of you who have businesses, some of you have businesses that people have to drive to. Who has businesses that people have to drive to? Now, remember years ago when getting in a car and driving somewhere meant like you had to call someone for directions, and if you were like, and you're a guy and you're just not good with them and stuff, and your wife's saying, I don't think we should have made a left on Elm, and you're like, shut up, and you start driving and you don't care, and you stop after about a year, and okay. Nowadays, you go online to go to a thing called MapQuest, but let's make it easy for them. If they click on that address, they get a live map to their phone. They're no longer going online. It goes right to their phone. Now, remember, there's other stuff out there that does that, but it's all self-contained. But here's the one for some of you that said earlier. There's a button called Click to Call. And I have it on my phone. I could show it to you. Like my 3 sons, I have 3 sons. Anybody old enough to remember that Fred McMurray? Okay. Those of you who are too young, the Brady Bunch. Okay, anyway, so Click to Call. I don't know my son's phone numbers. I have little pictures of them, and I click to call their phone, Or if they call, I have like a picture of them when they were little, when they were nasty, So anyway, so the Click to Call for your business allows a consumer, the lazy consumer, who wants the phone number now, who wants the access now, to actually be able to click to call. And you can actually track that. It allows you not. Do you understand how many times you see a commercial and they say the phone number? Did you say it? What? That was 1-800 blah 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 BBB. Years ago, it used to tell you their website, which was the stupidest thing in the world. Who's sitting there with a pen? www.cleanmyroof.com/roof. What? Okay, so let's look. I could click here and go to your website. Online, it would go to your online website. On the phone, it would go to your online website. Maybe we create a website for you. Now you have that good solution. You're actually taking a consumer who you don't know when that consumer is ready to look at stuff in your industry. But they're coming to my site. I'm pulling them there. Then they go to the one category. Then they go to the one business. And last but not least, if you're on TV, you could click to watch the TV ad online or on the phone. So you no longer have to worry about whether or not people are watching the television station at the exact time. We're only reaching them when they're ready. Who is looking for a plumber? What are they doing? Honey, what are we doing tonight? Looking for plumbers. Yeah, that sounds like a good thing tonight. Let's just look for plumbers. By the way, that does not happen. Yeah, I'm making that up. Okay. Why is this good for the consumer? Let's talk about them. It mirrors their current search habits. They're starting to use the phone. Moby Deals is 100% opt-in driven. It's permission-based marketing. We're not interrupting them. They decided. In fact, it's something called viral. Do you know why Facebook is popular? Because everybody tells you to go on Facebook. There's no commercials for Facebook. It's viral. I don't know if your business is viral, but we're creating a product or solution that actually is viral. In fact, not only is it viral, it allows the consumer to actually talk to their friends about known businesses, looking for golf courses, looking for restaurants. It puts the consumer in control. Cell phone means easy access. The offer is actually captured on the phone. Geo-targeting makes it actually convenient, and it actually puts what we call the chosen brand in their hands. In terms of comparing this to your current marketing, those of you who said word of mouth, that's one thing. But when you're talking about newspaper and web and Valpak and direct mail, Moby Deals cost is very low. Your salespeople will tell you what it is. The rate of redemption is actually very high. And the geo-targeting capability is something that you're not going to find. The geo-targeting capability is something you're not going to find with mediums like newspaper. Unfortunately, the newspaper has gotten to the point where most people don't actually look at the newspaper when it's news. They're looking at it later on in the day, or they're not looking at it at all. Anybody ever subscribe to a newspaper? You come back from vacation, and there's 8 newspapers on your lawn? You ever do that? Okay, what do you sit down with the wife and go, we got some reading to do. Sit your butt down. We got some reading to do. Yeah, you're not doing that. In fact, if you take a look at Moby Deals and TV, there's an increased ROI that's going to occur. Boy, this is frustrating me. Okay, you can engage them through TV. You can capture the mobile consumer, increase interactivity with the consumer, opt-in coupon that has higher redemption, build on your consumer's loyalty. In fact, if you take a look at Moby Deals as a branding mechanism, what we're really saying to you is we get people familiar with your brand on television, but we also allow them to take it through on Moby Deals. Complete the circle. If you put your business on TV, you start the discovery process. You control your message delivered. You capture the mobile consumer with Moby Deals. The next is, and like I told you, Moby Deals is online and on the phone, is we've got an unusual amount of opportunities online. Once again, I want you to take a look at a consumer's habit. They go to eBay to buy or sell something. They go to Amazon.com to buy something. They're going to be pushed to a location online to look for nothing but deals. We have an opportunity to sign up for Moby deals online and on the phone. We have something called Hey, It's Half Off. Maybe you've heard of stuff like this. We've had it for a while, but we have an opportunity to say, can you test what your consumer is looking to do? Are they looking for a deal that's as drastic as half off? Or are they just looking for a coupon? And obviously, we've developed text clubs for you. Our suggested 360 marketing solution, this is where I'm wrapping it up. A 10-week campaign on television, brand and reach new customers, capture your local consumer online and on the phone. Go for what I call 3-screen approach, TV, internet, on the phone. Whatever it is right now that you're missing, if you're doing something online, we can actually enhance it with Moby Deals. If you're doing something with another television station, we can enhance it online and on the phone. If you're looking for something that's more along the lines of a half-off deal, we have that as well. Television plus mobile plus internet is absolutely a sustainable business plan for your business. In the next 10 weeks, whatever you do will impact your business for the next 10 months, maybe even the next 10 years. Can anybody finish this for me? Winston tastes good, like a cigarette should. Hasn't been on television for 40 years. It is in your head, right? You know about Geico, you know about this. Let me tell you about a bad economy. In the 70s, there was a horrible, horrible recession. There was a young man, well, he probably was old in those days, but his name was Sam Walton. Owned Walmart. He's dead now. But I'll tell you something about Sam Walton. During the 70s, during that recession, he pulled his marketing off because he said, he's Walmart. Who doesn't know Walmart? Well, at the end of that recession, which wasn't as long as this one, he saw his market share went down. He was losing market share. And when asked, what was the problem? What happened? He answered something that you must listen to today. His answer, Sam Walton's answer, Walmart said, it was amazing what happened when I stopped inviting people to my store. Now, those of you with retail stores, that has to ring true. The reverse is true. It's going to be amazing what happens when you start inviting people to your store. You can't look at what you're doing now and say that the last 10 weeks is going to be duplicated in the next 10 weeks. You're lucky if it's duplicated. And if the last 10 weeks weren't good, then how are you going to not make it duplicated? How are you going to push forward and allow us to take a look at why this is good for you? It is good for you because constant interface with the consumer allows you to reach your customer outside your store. Oh, when they're in your shop, you can upsell them. And when they're calling you and you get there, you could sell them something. But how do you talk to them outside your store? Can you talk to them on TV? I think it's a great place to be. It's not enough. You need to be in front of them online and on the phone. You will need geo-targeted mobile technology. You need total control over the content and offers. Maybe you want only new customers, so only put offers on there if you're a new customer. You could put up to 3 offers on this product. You could do a new customer offer or a current customer offer. You could test them. It's a critical part of your 360 marketing to do online and on the phone. If you're testing, this is what this is all about. You have to test what the consumer is going to react to. In fact, opt-in makes a higher redemption. If you've done direct mail, it's very low redemption. If someone opted in for a coupon site and someone goes to a coupon site, they're more apt to opt. Thank you. Copyright, trademark. Okay, capture them online and on the phone. Truly mirror the consumer behavior. Television is the most powerful push marketing in the universe. Push marketing is not enough. You need pull. We're going to be pushing people out to our web. We're going to be pushing people out to our phone. We're going to be pushing people back and forth between the 2 and 3. We're going to put everybody in every way, shape, or form is going to know about your business. It isn't going to be like when I was a little boy where I had to talk to my mommy or daddy. It's going to be people are doing business before they ever do business with you. They're doing it online and on the phone. They're making transactions online. No one's gone to a record store in the last 5 years, and my kids will never go to a record store. They're buying it online. People are researching products and services online. They're starting to move on the phone. If you have a business that needs a consumer to call you, get in front of them with the click to call. If you need a consumer who needs to find out what kind of business you really are running, get on TV. If you're in every one of those places, you have increased your exposure. You've increased your percentage of success. I want to thank you very much. Obviously, I'm going to ask some questions. I know all of you want to meet me. personally. But if you have any specific questions, I'd like to answer them now. Your salespeople, today, like I said, I'm not in a timeshare selling business. We will show you what we believe is a good suggested use of this. But the idea is you really should be sitting down with your salesperson and really mapping out where your marketing is going. This is all, remember, we fed you, we talking to you. This is all the free part. We really want to dig and delve into what your marketing needs are. Okay? This is not a gimmick. This is not a fluke. We actually are a smart marketing company. We see this as where it's going. It's an opportunity for you to jump on what we consider the next evolution of how consumers are moving. So I thank you very much for your time. Any questions? No questions right now? So I thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Oh, well, thank you.